Hi, I'm Natalie, and today I'm gonna make gluten-free tiramisu. And this is one of those recipes which I wanted to make and figure out for years. I mean, I love tiramisu. It is one of these perfect dishes which I could have in the morning, in the evening, for breakfast, for lunch, midnight snack, anytime, watching movies. It's just everything I want. It's coffee, it's heavy cream, it's cheese, and then chocolate. It's a no-brainer, and this gluten-free tiramisu will not only outshine its glutinous cousins, but will fool anyone to think it's the real deal. I finally figured out last week how to make a gluten-free ladyfinger dough so I can finally make my tiramisu! Woo-hoo! So you can follow along how I made the ladyfingers in last week's video, and I added a link to my website where I listed the ladyfinger recipe. The ladyfinger batter is mixed. I decided to pour it on one baking sheet because I don't want to deal with cutting and slicing and piping, just to have a tiramisu. So the tiramisu filling has two parts to it. One is the egg yolk sugar mixture that you have to cook over a hot water bath, and the other one is heavy cream. And then you combine both of them. The first thing I'm going to do is now make the first part of the filling, which is the egg sugar mixture. And I need to start separating 6 eggs. Here are my 6 eggs, and I'm gonna add 1 cup of sugar, which is 200 grams of sugar. So what I often do with the egg whites is I normally freeze it. I can use it then for a meringue or any other recipe which just asks for egg whites. And I'm gonna mix it over the hot water bath, which will cook the eggs and at the same time melts the sugar. And what makes Savoy, now I have to figure out another foreign word. I hope I pronounce it correctly. Now the sabayon, is it sabayon, sabay? The sabayon has reached 160 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm gonna take it off the heat. I'm gonna let the sabayon cool down a little, and then I'm gonna add the mascarpone to it. And I need to certainly make sure the mascarpone is also at room temperature, so I'm gonna take it out of the fridge as well. The sabayon has reached room temperature, and now I'm going to add the mascarpone. And with a whisk, combine both of them. I'm going to start slowly whipping the heavy cream. I'm supposed to use 1 3/4 cup, which should be about close to 400 milliliters. You can certainly check on Chef Stanley's site for the perfect measurements. In the meantime, the heavy cream has reached the stiff peak. And I'm going to add the sabayon to it. So I'm going to fold in both masses, and I wanted to use a very nice soft spatula to make it a bit easier. I am finished now with my tiramisu filling, and now I'm going to make my coffee liqueur mixture. And for that I need an espresso or very strong coffee. And what I did was, because I don't have an espresso machine, I could make cold brew overnight. So I used 1/4 cup of coffee grains and 1 cup of water and let it soak overnight, and now I'm going to strain it with my French press. And I want to certainly add some liquor. I mean, tiramisu needs some liquor. I could certainly go and buy Kahlua, but I figured I can actually make a coffee liqueur at home with the coffee. So I'm just going to add vodka and some dark rum to it. And here's my coffee mixture. Here's my cooled down ladyfinger cake, and I'm gonna cut it into slices to make it easier to put into the form. So much easier than piping ladyfingers. So I'm gonna put a little bit on the bottom and put the ladyfingers in. So I'm gonna brush more on. And now I'm gonna add some of the filling. I'm gonna add my second layer of ladyfingers. I'm a little bit short, but luckily I have some extra ladyfingers. And now the last layer. Okay, first set of tiramisu. And for the final touch, I have to add some cacao powder on the top of the tiramisu. And I normally like to clean up the edges of the pan, just that it looks cleaner. Just have to put the tiramisu into the fridge for 4 to 5 hours, let the heavy cream settle a little bit, and then the tiramisu is ready to be eaten. Oh yeah! And here is my tiramisu. I wanted to make tiramisu for such a long time that this is really sort of a moment of, yeah, I did it! And I'm gonna have to try it. Nobody would guess that's a gluten-free tiramisu. The ladyfinger recipe I use gives it a little bit of that crumbliness of a ladyfinger. And then certainly Chef Stanley's recipe for the mascarpone sabayon thing is really good. My coffee with vodka and dark rum worked quite well. I actually prefer it over the Kahlua because the Kahlua would add a little bit too much sugar for my flavor. And I wasn't happy with the Ladyfinger recipe originally when you watched my first Ladyfinger episode. And certainly in my dissatisfaction of Ladyfingers, I had to run another test trial with different flour combinations to see how the Ladyfingers could be improved. And I did improve them. I got a much drier Ladyfinger, and I certainly made a tiramisu with that one as well. I want to taste if there's a difference between this tiramisu recipe where I used my less happy Ladyfinger recipe or my ideal Ladyfinger recipe. I made this tiramisu in a container and it's a little bit hard to get out, so I'm going to just eat out of a container. I mean, what's not to like about tiramisu in general? These Ladyfinger absorb much more liquid, so it's a little bit softer. I prefer this tiramisu because I can taste the sponginess a little bit better than in the other tiramisu. Just because it's not as good as the other tiramisu, I'm not stopping eating this. I hope you're gonna try out making some gluten-free tiramisu. It's such a wonderful summer treat. And if you want to learn more about great summer recipes or other gluten-free recipes and sweet treats, make sure to subscribe to my channel and check the bell to get notifications about any upcoming videos.